Hello and welcome to Calypso Showcase. To many people, the name Winsford Joker Devines is a name they just associate with the Calypso progress, and have possibly just heard that he has composed many calypsos for many calypsonians. We are located in Deep Digo Martin, just after River Estate, and 2 years ago, Winsford Joker Devine lived in a humble abode at the back of the house on my right. He's been able to move into this house because the royalties he's gained from the many calypsos he has written. And today, we want to talk about his life and his work. Winsford Devine. I've heard so many different pronunciations of your name and seen so many different spelling of it. Perhaps the first thing you could clarify for me is, what is your name?
Devine, D-V-I-N-E.
Is there a story associated with the spelling of that name?
Yes. I was told that my mother is a Tobagonian by birth, and like she wasn't able to spell Devines as such or something like that, and she put D-V-I-N-E to make it short, and that is what came out on my birth paper, so I decided to keep it because on my mother birth paper have D-E-S-V-I-G-N-E-S.
The way we know to spell Devines.
Devines, and all the Devines nearly came from Tobago, so it's the same thing. But and it's a problem now with all the family from Tobago because they keep on asking me how my own spell different to theirs.
Well, I think it was sensible to follow what was written on your birth paper, and in fact, that has become a sort of a big name for you, D-V-I-N-E. It stands out.
Most people do not say divine as such. I don't introduce myself as divine. They come like I say now, I am divine.
So what do you prefer to be called?
Devines.
Devines. And the nickname Joker, where did that come from?
A friend gave me that name. That is my Calypso sobriquet as such. Yeah, a friend.
What caused him to call you Joker?
I don't know. He's the person who introduced myself and Muchan into the Calypso field, a guy named Moving was from Nelson Street. He took us under his wings and guided us into that direction. In fact, the first set of Calypsos I sold to Siltilla, he arranged the sale. And the two songs were sold to Blakey, How to Make a Road March and a Road March Recipe and a Simple Calypso.
Those are your first two sales?
Yeah. First two are songs that I got to be published.
Now tell me something, because I've noticed in your material, in your work, that you display a very, very wide vocabulary. What sort of educational background do you have?
Alvin, I have to confess that I won a government scholarship in Monjablo RC school, but I was never able to fulfill it because my parents were very poor, and I made 1 year in San Fernando Technical Institute, 1 year, 12 months, and my father wasn't able to contribute no more. And that is the extent of my education. But since that, I've kept on reading all my life. I have a lot of books. If you look around upstairs, where you could see a lot of books. I probably must have over 1,000 books here, right here now in this house. All kind of books, from religious books go right back down to what we'll call simple novels.
So you're a prolific reader then?
Yes.
What about world affairs?
Yes. I read a lot of historical books. I watch news arduously. Every news that it have on the TV or the radio, I listen to it. Because I like to keep you informed.
That's very admirable. Now, one of the things that also struck me is that you seem to have an affiliation for the pan. I read somewhere that in your early days you did spend some time with the pan.
Yes. As a little boy, about approximately 11 years old, I got introduced to the pan in a kind of strange way. Leaving school and even the pan wasn't far from our school. And leaving school, I came and I heard the guys beating. After they finished beating, I take 2 little pieces of stick, cookie broomstick, and went on the pan and started to play the same tunes that they playing. And the captain of the band, which was living at the time right in the back of the pan yard as such, he came and he saw me, and he told me, keep coming every evening. He made a pan stick and he gave it to me. And he told me, keep coming every evening and he go teach me, and he started to teach me. I learned to play pan at the age of about 11 or 12 years old.
What steel band did you play with?
Well, this band didn't have a name. It was a Mondiablo steel band, a sort of village band. And if it had a band, I couldn't remember the band name, the name of the band.
How many years were you associated with steel band?
A lot of years, maybe about 30 years.
Well, I want to jump into an aspect of your career as much as we were talking about the steel band. The tune Fire and Steel, which was a test piece for 1986. How did you come to compose that particular test piece?
Well, I always thought about writing a tune, especially for pan, because during the early days of my pan days, I always realized, well, steel band always had us to look for somebody else tune, and I always thought that I would write a tune. What make it more significant is that one time I went to New York in 1973, and I was talking to a guy there, and we were discussing the steel band, and he said, yes, all well and good, nice instrument, but what is the music of the pan? I said, what do you mean? He said, well, what music that is for the pan especially? I said, well, Calypso. He said, but the steel band men don't make that, is Calypsonian make that. He said, the pan have no music then. And there and then the idea occurred to me that he was talking some sense that no real music never came out of the pan until fellas started to write specially for the pan, because steel band in the earlier days used to only play people's songs and Calypsonian songs and depend on the Calypsonian songs.
Right. Now the tune Fire and Steel was also considered a tribute to Yo-Yo. Who is Yo-Yo?
Yo-Yo is my neighbor, the pan tune I live right in the back there.
And Fire and Steel deals with the tuning of the pan.
It deals with the tuning of the pan. The real musical theme of the song, Fire and Steel, came from a bird, an indigenous bird called the big-eye grave. I don't know how many people have heard that bird on evening, especially when rain start sitting down on a tree, and it seemed to say that same Tatia, that same song, and I take that song and form the theme. Of course, I put in other little things to make it sound like if pan tuning, you know. Like if you will notice, it has some it has the chromatic scales, the 8-note scales and these things in it, you know, to give an impression that after the tuner done tune certain notes, you run the scale. That is how they usually tune it.
To check the notes.
To check the notes and see if it's right and all this kind of thing. If you listen to the second part of the test piece, you will hear these things in it.
How much music do you know in terms of formal training?
Well, I have a basic working knowledge of music. I used to play music. I used to play a trumpet a long time in bands and things. So I have a basic knowledge of reading and writing music. And then during the Calypso times, I get a little advice here and there from fellas like Joey Lewis, Arthur D. Cotto, fellas, Old Rodney, and fellas like these fellas who more advanced than me.
So what instruments do you play beside the pan?
I could play a little trumpet, could play a guitar, quattro, a little bit of keyboards, not much, and that's it.
All right, well, let's go back now to the early years of your composing, and you told us about the tunes that you wrote that you sold to Sil Taylor. But give us a little bit of the experiences you had in those early years of getting your material out to people.
Well, I am from the deep countryside, Mon Diablo, as you know, Alvin. And out there in the country, it is not like when you're in the thick of things in town. You know, out there have a lot of time and a lot of fantastic ideas go through your mind in the country, you know. And sometimes the things you read and the things you see, you want to advance yourself. So after a certain time in the country, I live and I came up in town. And always on the block, even among the fellas them who used to play pan, I custom singing little calypso, little voices, making little voices, and this guy heard me and he said, Joker, you write some nice songs, but you write them and put them on a tape. He got a double reel tape for me, the bigger reel to reel, and I placed on that tape around 40 tunes. Then when he heard them beating a box, I didn't play no instrument, beating a box, and he took me to a Maple Leaf Club, which was one of the, you could say, the forums of Calypso at the time. At that time, all the Calypsonians hung out at Maple Leaf Club, which was a club run by Sil Taylor. Then you had Sparrow manager, he used to lie him there, and a lot of other guys who was involved in Calypso at the time. He took me there, and there were several Calypsonians, Shorty, Crusoe Kid, Blakey, and others. And they took me in a back room and they played the whole tape. And Sil Taylor bought the whole tape. All the songs on the tape. 2 of the songs he gave to Blakey. And they were published. That was a simple calypso and a road march recipe. I don't know if road march recipe on a record. I never heard it. Only 1 year I heard it is that the year that he sang it. I know simple calypso on a record.
Did you ever try to actually get in a tent and sing yourself?
About twice.
What happened?
Well, tent politics forced me out. Actually, I tried to sing Progress. I had written and arranged, scored out Progress for myself. And I went to the tent to sing it. Mr. Leon, which is Sparrow manager now, encouraged me to come. I sang at the audition. I was chosen for the tent. But something went wrong because the night when the tent was to open, and I look on the list of names to appear in the tent, my own wasn't there. And that same year I had a contract to go and arrange for a band in Tobago for the government, which was a Wassa band in Delaford. So I accepted that contract rather than to stick around the tent sitting down on the bench all the time. The other time I actually sang one night and then was dropped from the cast and was advised by many Calypsonians and people who are around the Calypso tent, Joker, you could write good Calypso, but he's not a Calypsonian to sing on the stage.
Now, you mentioned the tune Progress, and to many people, this is the tune that they got to know Joker Devine from. And it's history now that King Austin actually sang that tune Progress. Tell us about how it eventually ended up in his hands.
Well, the song was written for Sparrow. Sparrow actually recorded that song up in New York. Charlie have a copy of the song up to today. And Sparrow didn't like the song. He said that kind of song didn't appeal to him. And the song went flat. It took 3 years after that for that song to come to fruition. A guy sent Austin, heard me try to sing the song in the audition, and then sent Austin to me. He came in the house what I used to live down there, and he asked me for the song, and I gave it to him. I arranged the music for him, and I sent him to Beaver Henderson, and Beaver produced the record for him with Sam.
At Sam Studios?
Yes.
What was your reaction when you actually heard King Austin sing that on a stage and go all the way to the finals?
Well, the opening night and the tent, I didn't go. I went 2 weeks after when some people come and tell me, Joker, you write that song, Progress? I say, yes. He said, that's a bad song, but the man breaking down the tent with the song. You know, that's the local thing when a fella hit, you know that song. And I went that Saturday night, and that Saturday night, Austin got about 5 encores with the song. And I told myself, I said, that song going to the Savannah.
Today, when I look around in the world, what do I see? I see footprints that man have left on the sand while walking through time. I see fruits of our ambitions, segments of our imaginations, and I ask myself, when will it end? When will it end? It is plain to see, universally this land is not bountiful as it was, simply because in his quest for success, nothing stands in man's way. All rivers run dry. Soon the birds will fly, the mountains will be no longer high. And when I really think of it, I just wonder why. I see charity deplored, equal rights totally ignored, wisdom and ingenuity working in accord, simply to afford such inventions as thermonuclear warfare and environmental warfare. And I wonder now, where do we go from here? Prophets everywhere gaze upon the horizon and declare that judgment will come as the savage hands of unscrupulous men file everything pass by. Time is running out as we eat and drink, species at the brink of being extinct. And I think no one can deny that the price of progress is high.
That song came out of I am from the Southland, and I used to go to school at boys' school in San Fernando at that time, and as all South boys know, that San Fernando Hill was a kind of haven to us at certain times in our school days. We used to go there, play, look for mangoes. You know, it was a hangout then. And when I went back there a few years after and I saw the hill, it was only one little piece of the hill, it hurt my heart. And I came back that same day and I started to ride that Calypso.
Now, the following year, if anybody thought that this was a fluke, Who Going to Guard the Guards, which is one of my personal favorites, I think this really called for some depth, for some research, and some of the lyrics that you put together in that. Tell us about Who Going to Guard the Guards, the Guardians. As
you know, Alvin, when you come out good this year, people always expect you to come out good the following year, and you have to do a lot of thinking to come up with something on par. And then setting that standard, you have to look for something. Now, Guardians is really based, is a political something. It's like being disenchanted with the way how the world going, and you know, like politicians doing corrupt things, and that is what inspired me to write that song. I said, well, watch me, you have this one here, and you have that one here, and it's not a chain that come, and it's supposed to be a chain, it's supposed to have somebody to guard the line is who to judge the judge, it's supposed to be who to judge the judge. I just twist that line and put it to who to guard the guards.
Some of the lines in that, off my top of my head, I remember things like the espionage Calahads, the Castle of the Cards. Did you do extensive research and reading, or did this just come straight from the head?
That is one of my ability, to keep a theme of a song. I could take this and watch this here and write one verse in it, and to keep the theme of a calypso. The second verse in a calypso is the hardest verse to make. One could always say, get 16 lines or how many lines and put it and have a theory at the end of that 6, but just to keep it up and keeping it follow that theme is a very hard. More plenty calypso and get lost out. You understand? When they reach the third, second and the third verse, it's not easy to keep to that same theme, because probably in your mind you only have so much to say, and in the first verse and the second verse you could probably get across that. But after that, when you have two more verses to go again, for it not to be and for it not to be monotonous, you have to keep on saying the same thing, but in a different way.
Guardians of the cities, guardians of the air, guardians over land and seas, here and everywhere. Just like the steady beat of a metronome, we have become quite obsessed with the militant syndrome. To attain dependencies, we have conjured up a chain of ascendancy, reaching to the top. If it is this whole charade, depends upon rank and grade. Question for the lads, who are the guardians? The administrators of state defense, the men heads of intelligence, the espionage heads. Who are the guardians? Shall it be the gorillas, the religious ministers, or the professors from Harvard? Who are the guardians?
How many calypsos would you say you have written over the years?
Published calypsos over 500 right now. Published, I mean that it those on records.
Right. Over 500?
Over 500. That is what I need to know.
How many different calypsonians have used your work, would you estimate?
I never checked them, but a lot. Many.
Well, let's talk about some of those that the obvious ones. Let's start with a guy like, say, Marshall Montano. And what sort of relationship did you establish with him, and what did his performances do for you?
After Marshall won the junior crown, Yo-Yo is also Marshall's mother cousin, first cousin. And me and Yo-Yo had a close relationship. He told me, he said, boy, my cousin have a little boy that could sing Calypso. I said, well, bring him now. The mother brought him one evening by me. And they wanted song to contest the crown the next year. I said, no. I said, watch me, what you have to do is to get him in the big field. He good enough. She said, no, he can't get. I said, watch me, listen to me. Take 2 songs from me and make a record. She said, well, how to go about making her? Can I give she the Leston address, and me and you sit down and tell she what to do, how much money to get and things. She went to Leston, and I had already spoken to Leston, and then he helped her, and the record turned out to be a hit. So Marshall got into the recording thing, because it wasn't supposed to be so. She didn't want him, she only wanted 2 songs to contest the crown.
The junior?
Yeah, because he had won it the year before.
Those 2 songs were Too Young to Soca and I Love My Country.
Yeah. Too Young to Soca, the idea Too Young to Soca, if you listen to Nat King Cole have a song, they say I'm too young for love or something like that. It really based on that song. Just that I spin around it and use little political themes and thing in it. But really come from that.
They are changing the style for just a little while, and they laugh in advertisement. I say I'm coming on hot to show people what I got, and they start with critical comments. They say I'm a little boy, I'm too young to sing about people spreading joy, better party and sing. They say I should concentrate on winning the junior crown, because I have got to wait a few more years to break
How do you compose for a particular person? In other words, one of the things I've noticed is that your material hasn't got a sameness about it. Unless people knew that it was Winsford Devine had written this song, you might not even guess that you had composed it. How do you compose with different singers in mind?
It's a matter of the style of the singer. And I guess my little musical knowledge helps me that I wouldn't have the same melody all the time. You see, I could twist a melody. There are certain things that I could do in music that doesn't talk out to fellas. For instance, I could take a music sheet, what have fire and steel, a whole lead sheet, and start the way it start to play from the top here, and it goes on. I could turn it around, turn it upside down. And if you turn a sheet of music upside down, you could play with the same timing, nearly the same chords. You're playing with chords and you will get a different melody if you start from the bottom going right up to the top. You see, you could twist on a melody and make it different. I could take tambour song, the same theme, the same melody and the same basis and the chord, and twist around these notes where it have a G. I could put a C or something and have it in my mind and keep on singing it until I get a different melody that will have the same rhythm and the same chords, everything, I practice these things come from arranging for steel band. Like a panorama arranger is a very, very, very good musician. He's akin to Beethoven, and fellas don't realize that the amount of things a steel band arranger does do in music, Fellas, I don't know if people really appreciate this. The amount of music he puts in upon a tune and how much work he have to do. A steel band arranger could do nearly everything and anything in music as such, as in the theoretical section then.
Right.
Many things you could do. Steel band arranger will take one piece of line short, so bam, 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 and he will take that and he will extend it into a 10-minute piece, and it will sound different every time it comes. At least I'm talking about the good ones.
I get the impression, therefore, that there is no set pattern to the way you compose calypsos.
Not really. If a guy wants a special something, I feel like fellas just come and tell me, Joker, watch me. I want a song to say this. Most of the political songs I write is not my political idea. If a guy might come and say, well, watch me, I want to say something about this. I say, well, what you really want to say? And he will tell me, I will listen to it. Sometimes I put it down on a tape. He talk in prose and he talk all what he want to say. And I take that tape now and I go straight and listen to it and put all what he was saying there in a poetical form and then sing it.
Would you say Vote Them Out, that was sung by the play or something like that then?
Yes. The people, they came with some pamphlets, the political pamphlets and things, and they showed it to me. They showed me what they wanted to see. And I said, well, all right. I even improved on some of the themes, things like people first. I put that on the pamphlet for them. I say, I put on that. I offer some themes for them too.
Right.
It's easy to that. It's a former. It's easy to that because you see, like most time in advertising, you have these kind of things. When a fella study a product and he could come up with a phrase or a line that is easily acceptable by mentally. That is all you have to do. Something that people could grasp on. It's very simple.
Another calypsonian that is associated with your work is the Baron. And I think if one person who really puts over your material the way that the public endears to is the Baron. Tell us about your association with him.
Baron has a very, very sweet voice, and Baron could sing very musically inclined too. It's nice working with Baron. I know Baron a long time.
One of the tunes that stood out in my mind was like Soca Pantuna and say the Melosian Rhapsody. Did you write that with his voice in mind?
Melosian Rhapsody wasn't written for him. It was a song that I had on a tape, an old tape. I had that song about 20 years before it was published. The guy that bought the song for him, he heard it. He came to buy songs and he listened to that tape and he said, I like that song. I like the words in the song. And he gave it to Baron.
Get ready to blast off and begin to put in the planet flag. We are going to Venus in a little silver rocket tonight. Deep into space to another region to visit an alien civilization, to the world of love, searching for the perfect solution. Hello, people, getting ready to sing a melodious rhapsody. Till the day, till the day.
River Tears and all these songs was written for Baron, you see. Baron has such a nice voice and such a pleasant singing voice and such a range that you could write nearly anything and expect him to sing it. He will be able to put it over.
What's some special mood going through when you compose a song like River of Tears? It has such pathos in it.
Yes, yes. You see, listening to news and being aware of what's going on in the world, one must get this kind of feeling of that, you know, everything is not right in the world, you know.
This world has so much turmoil and strife, and things to give man horrors in life. So much torment, misery, and pain, all taking toll on the human brain. Is shooting and looting, disputing, revoluting. So now this world and all its affairs slowly drowning in human tears. Is tears of tribulation, out of frustration, of futility, of anxiety. People falling, teardrops falling, people crying, crying. The world a river of tears, the river of tears, the river of tears, the river of tears, crying. The world a river of tears. Hey.
Now, the other aspect of your writing, and I think Baron brought this out, is that you have a feel for a party tune, a road march type thing, tunes like Say Say and other tunes like that. And we are having a party, say.
Well, before I used to write lyrical songs, these are the songs I used to write. And involving the steel band, you know, I'm always in that kind of jam mood. You know, so I write party songs better than I write the lyrical songs. Although a party song is a harder song to write. I could write about 15 lyrical songs in the space of a week because there is so much material hanging around to say these things, you know. And but a party song is a hard song to write. Being as much, especially today now that you have everybody talking about party song and party song. The teams is getting worn out. You can't get a team like this right now. I own a kind of thing. I can't get no team at all, no original team to make a party song. You know, so you have to really scratch around or hear somebody say something or read something or listen to the TV and you get something. And some guys listen to all old records and pick out the teams from these records and do it, you know. I like to have an original team, something that a man goes say, I didn't hear something like that before. I feel that guys so in a kind of sense.
What gave you the idea for a song like Say Say?
Put me out. Help me out. You see, Say Say had a lot of political connotations in it and people didn't know. That is the year after Vote Them Out. I write that song. If you notice it, hear the team. They tell she not to play with fire. She went and she play with fire, so she get burned. You understand? And help me out. The whole theme of this song is help me out.
I tell you, say, not to play with fire. She won't hear me. But she went and played with that wire. I had yes, what a shot she got in the eye. Why I want She pull up like she must. Let me hear you. Baby, my free water, plenty water. Baby, my baby, my then a big load. Baby, my then on the boat. Baby, turn on the water hose and then we go. Out, out, out.
Any of my party songs is like that. You see, I don't like to write too much political song, especially about Trinidad politics and thing, you know, because I don't like to pick a side as such or say I is this and I is that. So if I write a party song, you write the whole verse and the chorus is the party song already. So I have two more verses to put in things that people might want to hear. I could put in politics, I could put in a little what we will call fellas will call smut. I could put in anything in that song. I could put in a little message after, you know, and just bring it back to the same party chorus that I had there, and it fits.
Yeah, because I remember you even wrote a song called No Politics, where I think it was really you talking through Baron.
Afraid Politics.
Afraid Politics.
Yeah, Baron loved that song too bad. He wanted to say that a long time ago.
But it was like you talking through Baron too. Now, one of the other persons that you composed a material for was Francine, and she had a nice tune called Dope Is Not the Answer, which I think really hit people that year.
Francine was one of the people that I really start off with. And we had a nice relationship. Again, I fell in love with Francine's voice. I like people who could sing good, you know. Who have a nice voice and have a working understanding of singing.
So listen well, you people. Although you see in trouble, if you're having money worries, it's not the answer. Hunted by sad memories. Well, a natural head and praise the Lord instead. Systematic era requires more than ever, but dope is not the answer. I said dope is not the answer. No way.
Now, but you have also recorded some of your own tunes. I remember Happy Birthday, Lego Tempo. Tell us about your efforts to record.
The first recording was on Idea. Baron. We had a little problem with the producer because we had made an arrangement for the album. I wrote the album especially for the guy that was recording Baron. And we had a little problems after with it. And then in one of the meetings, a suggestion was made. If you like so much money, why you don't sing your own song? And I had a good friend, a friend named Susie, who's the guy that started to manage Sugar Aloes. The first guy that started to record Sugar Aloes. That was my friend at the time. And he said, "Look, about watch me. You could go and sing your own thing. Come, I have some money and carry me up by Leicester," and we recorded. It come out good, okay.
Which tune was that?
Love Up and A Happy Birthday. That was the first record.
What is a typical, say, after Carnival period for Winsford Devines? You know, where new ideas come to your mind. How do you start working?
I keep on writing all the time. I used to keep. You see, the amount of songs I had was to put forward for a few years before the doctor told me I had to slow down. For the last 4 years, I keep on writing right through the Christmas season, right through the Carnival season. That is to supply people for the next year. Because just like the maskman, when Carnival done, a Calypsonian starts to make his record again. It takes a lot of things to make a Calypso record, Alvin. It's not easy. If you're not a composer, you're not a natural Calypsonian. For the Calypsonian like Baron and a certain other fellows, it takes a lot, who keep traveling all the time. It takes a lot to make a Calypso record. It's not easy. You just have 4 songs and you want to put it down. It have a lot of things you have to do. You have to make get those songs, get them arranged, go do studio work, then get like the jacket put out, your label and things, just take a look at it, maybe take you 6 months to get that. That's why some fellas record come out kind of late. It's not an easy thing to do. It have a lot of technical work involved in it.
Yeah. Well, I see a couple of years ago, Leston Paul put out a giant of an album with tunes like Get Up and Dance, Don't Bother Me, which you penned, Angel was another one of the tunes. Tell us about that relationship.
Well, you know, I've been working with Leston for years, been doing nearly all the arrangements to the Calypso that I write for the singers. You see, as a composer, you always have to have an arranger who you could arrange your material to suit you. And Leston seemed to have a style that I like. He has something of a flair. You know, and I feel personally that if I write a song and it is so good, he could bring it up to a certain standard by arrangement and so forth. So I keep sending nearly all the singers there.
One of the things too that stands out in my mind in terms of the strong tunes that you put up, because there are so many big ones, but Sailing, I think, has to be one of your top 10.
Sailing is a political song. Alvin, I'll give you the true story about this song. The year when they had the NAR party start to contest against the PNM party in a serious way, the NAR people came to me, I wrote vote them out for them. Mm-hmm. But the PNM people also came. They also came through the guy that came is a guy, a bald guy, I forget his name now, Mackie Scott or Mackie something. There's Mackie something in him. A guy who always wrong with Kitchener. Mm-hmm. He came and he asked me to write a song for the PNM too, and this PNM song was Sailing. But they never. I don't know what went wrong with he and the government at the time, but I saw him after that in New York, and he told me, he said, you come here and coming back in Trinidad to live again, you know, something wrong down there. And he never came back for the song, so I had that song on my hand. And after the next year now, I didn't have no song to get Trini, so I get Trini. Trini say he like it, and he recorded it, come out good.
If Trinidad is a boat, sailing on the river, I go sail on it. Oh God, I go sail on it. Whether it pass or slow, wheresoever it goes, I go in with it. Tell them I go in with it. I go sail when the tide is low. I go sail when the tide is low. If she going to hell and back, I go take the trip. I'm bound to go with him. I'm sailing when the boat take off. I'm sailing with the boat. I'm sailing when the boat take off. I'm sailing with the boat. All sailors from hello high water come. When she reaches a bush, I'm going to push like push. If Trinidad is a home, I will sail on it, sing for flow. It's the heart.
Another tune that you did for him was the Carita Banca.
Carita Banca, yeah.
In fact, you seem to have a fetish for doing Indian flavored songs. What's the story on that?
Well, my wife's father is an Indian. Mm-hmm. And so some of the Indian things he tell me. And I have a lot of Indian people who live around here. You know. I have an old Indian partner, of course, who always telling me Indian things that I could put in a song. Especially the last one I make for him, Jadu. He gave me that word. I never know nothing about that. I mean, Indian obia. Mm-hmm. I said, well, that's a nice thing, because I never hear that word before. Mm-hmm. And he explained to me what it is about and thing. And I said, well, yes.
And Bust Up Shot for Baron?
Yeah. Bust Up Shot is a true story, Alvin. Mm-hmm. It happened in a South Panorama. On the western side of the Skinner Park, every Panorama, there is a woman there that sells some Bust Up Shot and pumpkin. And one Panama had arranged for a band in South. And I went there and the woman fully played with bus up shot. And to me, like that is what I seem to be in bus up shot. Oh, I said, well, you know, that is a song. I put it in the back of my mind and as I come home, I put it on a tape.
In reading a book recently that Sparrow published of his 25 years in Calypso, I saw your name credited with some of his compositions. And we have heard that you have worked with him on a number of calypsos and whatnot. Can you shed some light on this?
Yes. After Siltila had introduced me to Bleaky, this same tape, the original first tape that I sold to Siltila, he sold some of them songs to Sparrow because a year Sparrow was weak. And I was in the panel and a guy told me, he said, you can't hear Sparrow singing a calypso, you was singing here. I said, no, I never sell Sparrow no calypso. But Siltila had probably offered them this calypso. That is Rope, Drunk and Disorderly, and it had a Queen of the Bands. No, the same night we took a can, we went down to the Young Brigade. And I went and I spoke to Sparrow. He said, you is the guy who's the mercy on top the joker scene on top. I said, yeah. He said, well, I like them guys, and I want you to continue to work with me. He paid me for the songs, and after that we keep on working. We worked for 17 years after that. With an agreement, of course. Fellas believe that Sparrow tried to suppress my name from the calypsos. That is not altogether true. It wasn't done without my consent. Because I have several contracts with Sparrow where we signed for the calypsos, and all the calypsos is registered in Cut and PRS in my name. The calypsos, all the rights belong to me. If he had to do something with those calypsos, he had to come to me. I wanted a contract with the grant to do over all his works. He had also come to me for to sign the. No, of course I will work with him closely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I never liked the idea of trying to gain recognition by saying, well, I write Sparrow calypsos. I not like that. I try to keep myself for a long time out of the public eyes with this calypso thing, you know, because if you notice, Alvin, I don't like too much of the limelight as such, you know, and I try to keep for a long time until people get to know and keep coming to me. Now, if a guy come and ask me, Joker, you make that guy Sparrow singing, of course I'm not going to say no if I would write it. I'd come like lying on myself, and I never lie, you know, but fellas feel was Sparrow didn't want my name to go there. Of course, it was with my consent. Of course, I used to get a bigger numeration for that in a sense than whereas I would have sell Baron a tune and Baron used my name on. Sparrow had also pay more to put his name there. Mm-hmm. And we worked for 17 years. The last year we worked, Alvin, is the year when I think it was somebody in the party pulling down my urn. That was the last song. Mm-hmm. This year we worked too, because I wrote the song Survival for him.
From the beginning of time, reaching out to the sublime, in a cold and hostile world, we have struggled to exist in this earthly wilderness, seeking an elusive goal. Many times it seemed that we are fighting a hopeless cause, implying extinction is our lot, because we were constantly ravaged by scourges and wars. We gripe, we quarrel and complain, but in the ending up, believe it or not, we will survive, no matter what the odds. Man will survive, inspired by our gods. It's a hard road we travel, but to triumph we shall. We gon' toil, we gon' struggle, cause at the end of it all, whether you're big or small, Peter helping Paul, till the master call, we fight for survival. Oh, yeah.
Now, if you had to look back, what are some of the songs that stand out in your mind? What are your favorites?
There are two kind of songs, Alvin. There's those that are melodic and those that are lyrical. The lyrical songs I like is like what I write is like, I like We Passed That Stage 1. Melodic, the best song I like that I have written, melodic song is Somebody.
What are the people you like to see put over your work?
I like, of all people, Sparrow, Marshall, Baron, Francine. They seem to have a understanding of the lyric. Plenty of the singers that I write for them have an understanding of the lyrics, so where I coming from. You have to explain to them. But Marshall, Sparrow in the first place. Sparrow seem to have a knack to put across a car so that certain fellas don't have. And understanding the lyrics. And Marshall, Baron, Sparrow.
So what can we expect from the pen of Winsford Devines in 1993?
Party songs.
Give me an idea of who you've written for.
I've written for Crazy, Designer, Roxanne, Leston Paul, so far. And I have Marshall in mind right now. Maybe in the next 2 weeks I will fix up Marshall with two songs.
So a lot of party tunes.
Melanie Hudson.
What has been the finest moment in your career?
Writing the test piece. Hearing the test piece played by so many bands.
What message would you like to give to the people of Trinidad and Tobago?
Try to learn to love Calypso, or learn to love the culture, because it seems to be getting away from us. And I feel if we don't keep it in the palms of our hand, it's going to get away from us, and we're going to regret it. We're going to regret it, and very soon we're going to regret it. Steel band and Calypso going to get away from us, and unlike some fellas who say Calypso can't make it in the world of music right now, they may have regrets when somebody else take it and make it big, and then leave we standing up with it, you understand? Trinidad people have to learn to accept what is us, really, and don't try to force something else to be us.
I see consciousness update as today. Live recklessly. Money make it goes inflate and thereby create a turbulent state. I see a struggle between the sexes, youth and ups and old complexes. Now the question is, right in context, what shall be next? I've already seen this world have come divided between race, color, creed, and class. And some of the things the scripture predict truthfully come to pass. Soil that wouldn't fear, children making children to be a part of this growing mass. And I ask, if this is progress, how long will it last?